What's up, everybody? It's the boy Richard Graves with the Richard Graves Group. I got my boy Jonathan, my boy Mark on today. We're going to talk a little longer, a little more detail about the situation with Kyrie Irving and the situation with Kanye West. So I'm going to bring on Jonathan first, wait for Mark to get back on, and we're going to go ahead and start up this conversation. What up, homie? How is you, cuz?
All right.
All right. So, Mark is coming back on. I'm about to click him on. We're about to sit here and chat about this for a minute. All right. All right. He's getting himself adjusted. Apologize. We have no intros, no nothing, man.
No, nothing. We getting it in.
I'm trying to download stuff, man. It just ain't happening. Facebook ain't cooperating. Us cooperating. I don't know. Maybe they don't want us to have this talk. All right. So we're all going to talk a little bit about, the stuff with Kanye West and talk about, you know, the stuff with Kyrie Irving and go ahead and talk about, more importantly, what this means for a lot of different things that came up in discussion because of this stuff with these guys. Obviously, anti-Semitism came up, anti-Semitism in the black community came up, anti-blackness, anti-black racism in the Jewish community came up. Questions about identity of black people, who we are, that came up. You know, questions about what we need to do as black people to not be dependent on people to be canceled in the first place came up. A whole lot of things came up. So, we got a little bit more time to talk tonight. Mark is pretty deep brother, Jonathan pretty deep brother, so we can really probably go on and on about a couple things. So we're gonna start out talking about the I guess the black elephant in the room. All right. Let's talk about first what happened. You know, Jonathan, you seem to be pretty versed on what happened. So give us a little verse about what happened with Kyrie.
So Kyrie posted a link on his Twitter to a particular book, a documentary about the whole Jewish Hebrew, who's the real people, that type of deal. He just posted a link, didn't make any comments on it. Those in the media or other people said that it was anti-Semitic, and then from there it took wildfire. I don't know personally whether it's anti-Semitic or not because I didn't see the post and I don't know the book they're referring to even give
Mm-hmm.
regards on that. And it's taking wildfire. People, on the news media, they like, oh, it's anti-Semitic, anti this. And my first thing about to them is, did you read it? Did you see it? Do you even know about it? Or you just regurgitating what somebody told you it was? And I think that's part of the problem. But that's not here nor there. His owner sat on it for a day, talked to him, and asked him to apologize or take it down. He didn't. Then the owner suspended him for 5 days without pay. 8 hours later, Kyrie apologizes. Gives a
Okay,
whole
so
one pager in an apology.
yeah, so I saw he did apologize. I'm looking at the link to the book. It's called Hebrews to Negroes: Wake Up, Black America. All right, it's a book. It's considered a religious text. It's about religion, a book about religion, not a text like the Bible or the Quran, but it's a book about religion. It goes, the book Hebrews to Negroes, Wake Up Black America touches on subjects too controversial for most authors to reveal to the people. The book will expose the truths that have been hidden by the powers that be in America. Since the European and Arab slave traders set foot in Africa, blacks have been told lies about their heritage. This was all by Satan's design, for he is the father of lies. There's an old stereotypical expression that says, if you want to hide something from a black person, put it in a book. Well, this is the book that all black people must read. Since biblical times, there's been a satanic agenda to destroy God's chosen people. All right. So this is the book. Now, I'm familiar with it. All right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm familiar with the author, Mr. Dalton. All right. So here's the thing, and this is what we're really going to talk about. This is about identity. When I saw Kyrie talk the other day, he was saying, "This is who I am." In fact, Let me find what Kyrie had to say because I don't want to misquote the man. I'm not going to misquote the brother. So let me go ahead and find that. I think I got that posting on my page. All right. And I think I'm going to share this to see what he actually had. You know what this is about. Because I mean, there it is right here. All right. So I apologize, y'all, but we kind of freestyle a little bit today. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring this up and hold on a second. I'm gonna share this so we can all look at it and have our comments. All right. We'll share this. We're gonna have our comments from my Twitter feed. All right. So I need to get a producer. All right. So I'm gonna share this screen. All right. Let's go to Twitter. All right. Y'all see that?
Yeah, we got you.
Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and play the brother. Let me make sure the Let me make sure that we got sound. We got sound. Cool. I'm gonna mute myself so I'm not getting echo.
Yeah, I think I can ask a better question. It's just, where were you when I was a kid, figuring out that 300 million of my ancestors are buried in America? Where were you guys asking those same questions when I was a kid, dealing with learning about the traumatic events of my familial history and what I'm proud to come from and why I'm proud to stand here and why, when I repeat myself that I'm not going to stand down, it has nothing to do with dismissing any other race or group of people. I'm just proud of my heritage and what we've been through, and the fact that this has pinned me against the Jewish community. And I'm here answering questions of whether or not I'm sorry or not on something I didn't create, and it was something I shared. And I'm telling everybody I'm taking responsibility. Then that's where I sit. So, these same questions that you guys ask, me dealing with it as being a melanated, pigmented person all around the world and dealing with racial biases against my skin color, demeaning me because of my religious beliefs, and I'm still sitting in the seat standing. So um, I take my full responsibility. Again, I'll repeat it, for posting something on my Instagram or Twitter that may have had some unfortunate falsehoods in it. But I also am a human being that's 30 years old, and I've been growing up in a country that's told me that I wasn't worth anything, and I came from a slave class, and then I come from a people that are meant to be treated the way we get treated every day. So I'm not here to compare anyone's atrocities or tragic events that their families have dealt with generations of time. I'm just here to continue to expose things that our world continues to put in darkness.
All right. Now, let me say something about that, brothers. All right, real talk. First of all, Mark, owe you apology. Yesterday, I basically dismissed. Or you can't. Can y'all hear me?
I can hear you.
All right. All right. I can hear you, Jonathan. Can you hear me? We can't hear you, Mark. Give him a second. Let me see if I can unmute him.
Can't hear you, bro.
Hold on. Yeah, you got yourself on mute, bro? There we go. Damn, I did it again.
You hear me
All
now?
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so first thing I'm going to say, Mark, I owe you an apology. Yesterday, when we first initially talked, I dismissed Black Hebrew Israelite ideas arbitrarily and rather abruptly. All right. I forget what it's like as a Black person. What he said when we were told, as Black people, we have been told we are nothing. All right. We've been told our people are nothing. As our people were brought here from the west coast of Africa and Central and South America, South Africa, and even parts of Eastern Africa, we were told that we weren't nobody. We were stripped of everything that we knew: identity, art, culture, language, everything. All right. That's why the group calls us a tribe called Quest. And, I said that last week. We're a group of many people that form one new people. I don't know if y'all ever saw the movie Roots, but Fiddler, one of these slaves that was taken, he was an African. He wasn't born in the United States or born in the colonies, right? But when Fiddler spoke to Kunta Kinte, he said, man, I feel sorry for these blacks that are born here. They don't know Africa. They don't know anything about themselves. They don't know who they are. They don't know who they come from. They're lost. And they're a new group of people, but they don't know who they are. And we haven't known who we are for quite some time. All right. So I know I arbitrarily dismissed the Hebrew Israelite thing, but let me say this much. I understand why we believe what I call mythologies about ourselves. We believe myths about who we are. One of those myths is that we are the biblical people. And I'm going to tell you why it is a myth. That was made up in the early 1900s. All right. When you get your first Black Hebrew Israelite groups, that's when you get your Moorish American Science Temple. All right. A lot of different things start back then.
I get it. Yeah.
These people that are still lost, these people are one generation out of slavery. All right. Basic education level people, I said, with 2 degrees, people were allowed to get back then. Black people, agriculture, and divinity, about the equivalent of what you would call basic certification that you would get at a Bible school. All right. Not particularly extremely deep in the exegetical hermeneutics, historiographical methodology, none of that. All right. So people are trying to make sense of our experience, which was traumatizing. All right. The experience of slavery was traumatizing. The experience of Jim Crow was traumatizing. We're trying to find something out of it. All right. Now, I'm not dismissing the fact that there are African people, all right, in Ethiopia, in South Africa, in Uganda, in the Ivory Coast, all right, that are actually people who are descended of Hebrews, that are Hebrew people. But my point, I guess, that the thing that disturbs me most is that back then, we didn't know no better. We didn't have the information. We couldn't go to Africa. We couldn't go to Nigeria. We couldn't go to Ethiopia. A lot of brothers, as groups of people, we didn't go. All right. A lot of people didn't go back. I mean, until it went into the 50s and 60s, people really started traveling. Well, Malcolm X, for example, went to Africa. All right. Marcus Garvey, when he started Pan-Africanism, he had went, he's a Jamaican brother. But here's my thing, bro.
Flag on the play. Flag on the play.
Why
I'm a chime in on Garvey.
Right.
Garvey.
Well, let me finish. Let me finish. But let's get back on Garvey. Yeah. All right. It's not. I guess I'm giving a brief history of everything that happened. I know there's more specifics. Yeah, there's more specifics. I mean, I could talk about Noble Drew Ali. I could talk about. No. Yeah, I could talk about Elijah Muhammad. We could talk about Marcus Garvey.
I'm not going to say what you think I'm going to say.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying, though, is the point that I'm trying to make is we were creating an identity as opposed to understanding who we actually are. All right. There's a thing I said about Latinos, and I'm going to make this quick because I've been talking for a few minutes. Latinos, I always say Latinos, Afro-Latinos, they're very connected to Africa. They're not really connected to Blackness. Now, we are very connected to Blackness, but not connected to Africa. And let me tell you, I think that we have bought into the white supremacist idea of what Africa is. I think that part of the reason we create these mythologies of these ancestries, or we try to tie ourselves to Pharaoh in Egypt and being, Egyptian royalty and all that stuff. I don't think that most of us know about the Ashanti kingdom where our people came from, the Ghanaian kingdoms, the Zulu people. We really don't know about that. I think that most of us believe Africans is running around,
what about
like Tarzan.
What about the Tafunka tribe? That they
Man,
wait, hold on.
Well, let me be clear. There are 400, at least 400 Bantu people groups we come from. Then you have the Igbo, the Ichikiri, the Yoruba, You have so many people groups, so we can talk about any of them individually as great people.
You name it, everybody you name is Africa. What about the North American ancient sects?
Oh, hold on. I'm gonna talk about that bullshit too, and I call it bullshit.
How is that bullshit?
You got black people. I'm gonna say this. You got black people right now that are so goddamn ashamed of being Africans, of being descendants from slaves, that they made up this bullshit that we are the original Native American people in North America.
Wait. Time out.
I'll let you talk about it after I finish.
Hold on, Mr. Graves. Mr. Graves.
Let me finish this.
Go ahead. You said that twice now. You said that twice already.
I'm not saying that there are no African Americans with Native American ancestry. Yeah, there is. But this idea, and I dare any one of these people that's saying this, we are the original Native people, to take one DNA test and see what it tells you. It ain't going to tell you that. Why
would you do that? Why would you take a test that they created, that were purposely?
They created. I'm sorry. What language you speaking?
DNA. Listen. Wait. Stop. Time out. Dog. Listen. You said a lot of things, and you say them very, with a lot of confidence. You know what I'm saying? Let me finish.
Give me 2 minutes, bro.
Let me know when it's my time to talk. Let me know when it's my time to talk uninterrupted.
Hear me out. Give me 2 minutes to finish. All right. What I'm saying is that Native American bullshit we made up, being Egyptian bullshit we made up, being the original Hebrew bullshit that we made up.
I feel bad for
right now. Black folks even making up what we got a movie coming out November 11th by a character created by a Jewish man named Stan Lee. That black folks is actually getting in African garb talking about going to Wakanda, which is completely fictional as well. And I've never seen people celebrate the actual African.
You think you African.
This was last thing you said. No, I didn't say. I already said from the beginning. Our ancestors come from Africa. We have ancestors that come from Europe.
You think your ancestors come from Africa. So you think your blood come from Africa.
My primary ancestry comes from.
But you know your African people, though, right? Let me ask you a question. Do you know the people in your family that was from Africa? What's their names?
As far as what their names was that they came over here with? No.
Okay, so hold on, wait. Stop.
What nations I'm related to?
Wait, hold on. Mm-hmm. I can track my family back to the 1500s and beyond of being here, of stories of already being here, of the invasion, of the wars. You need to get this book, bro. Put them other books down.
Let me tell you something, bro.
Let me tell you something. Wait, stop. It's my turn to talk.
Hold on, cuz I didn't finish though. I told you I needed
to let you finish. Let me let you completely finish.
All right, and then I'm done. You put up a book. It looks like to me that book is written in English. That ain't
how many hairs you gonna split, bro?
Right.
How many hairs you gonna split?
It's written in English, bro.
But listen, even with the
English, don't pull no book written in Her Majesty's and tell me it's telling you some deep secret, but you won't take the white man's test.
Bro, listen.
You're going to read a book in the white man's language and tell me I'm supposed to
let me ask you a question.
In another book in the white man's
language. So we should stop
language.
Talking then, right? We should stop talking.
That's a valid. Hold on, Mike. That's a valid point.
Wait, we should stop talking then, right?
Tell me though. You want me to trust this book that's written in Her Majesty's.
Wait, hold on.
But you don't want me to trust any other book written in Her Majesty's.
Should we stop talking? Wait, should we stop talking?
I want you to explain that to me.
Let me ask you a question right quick.
Why is Her Majesty's more authoritative than any other book in Her Majesty's English?
Okay, so let me ask you a question without being interrupted. Should we stop talking? Because we're speaking English.
I asked you a question, bro.
Wait, let me ask you a question. Should we stop talking because we're speaking English?
I'm not the one making the claim that we should.
Wait, stop.
You made the claim that
everything we're doing is in English. So that eliminates what you just said. Don't say that. Mm-hmm. That's not you're spinning the Ferris wheel. Don't do that.
Show me a book
listen.
We can tell me that this book is right and every other one is wrong. How can you tell me that?
Look at what you're doing. You're anti-Semiting me right now.
What?
You're telling me my book. You're telling me my book is irrelevant.
No. Hold on. Let me hold on.
You just did that shit. You just did that shit.
Wait, Rich. Wait.
You're not as conscious as you think.
Wait, Rich. Wait, Mark. Wait, Rich. Wait, Mark. What Rich is saying is, if you can't trust the DNA test, which is supposedly made by them, then it would then follow that you have to question, if you're reading a book in English written and made by, made by them, it would be subject to scrutiny as well. That's all that he's saying.
That's when you ask the question, who's the author of that book? And then you get your head busted. Then I pull out another book for you from them, written about us. Wait, stop, time out.
Pulling out books doesn't prove anything.
Hold on, I'm not trying to prove shit. Let me make my point.
I want to pull out what he's bringing out, bro.
Listen, I'm not trying to prove anything. I'm trying to make my point.
Okay.
The point that we should be talking about, because you're splitting hairs and you're spinning a goddamn hamster wheel. We need to be progressively getting the ball down the street. So what I'm trying to say is this: Kyrie and Kanye are getting penalized for speaking freely as a man empowered to do so.
They're not empowered to do so because they don't own their own platform. Stop.
Time out. This is when you find out that you don't have the power to do so because you don't own your own platform. This is the lesson.
Find out. They knew when they signed the goddamn contract they played for the team.
Stop for 1 second, bro, please.
You ain't making no sense.
Listen, look at what we're doing. We're talking about it on his platform that we can freely have this conversation about. You know what this is going to start? New platforms where these conversations can be had.
We already been having them on podcasts. It's already been happening. We just ain't famous. What are you talking about?
Listen, I'm talking about not splitting hairs.
It's not splitting hairs. What I'm telling you is that shows like Rich's and shows like mine do more for the humanity than any athlete.
Listen, if Kyrie,
fuck them athletes.
Wait, time out. Listen.
Let Jonathan let the man talk.
If a Christian, let's not gonna say Kyrie. Let me bring it to you now. If a Christian says, "I believe in Jesus Christ. I believe He died on the cross and rose up out the grave, and even though there's no grave of Him on earth, I believe that shit." You understand what I'm saying to you? I believe that Jesus Christ was in the Middle East and shit with a name called Jesus when there wasn't no J to the 1544s and shit.
Now who's
wait, stop. Time out. This is a belief. But look at how I can clown that shit and make it sound real clowny. And you get offended.
I'm not offended at it. It just sounds silly.
Stop. My point is you're feeling my point. You're feeling my point. This is what they're doing to him. But y'all want to split hairs on the fact that this nigga said something. They trying to shut him the fuck up.
He didn't say anything.
That's the whole point. It's not about what he said. It's about them saying, "Hey, bro, shut the fuck up. Quit talking about that shit." And we talk about what the fuck he said. Like what he said wasn't powerful enough to make them say, "Fine him, tax him, shut him the fuck up." He obviously said something. They did the same shit to Nick Cannon. They're obviously saying something. And you guys are blowing past that shit. Like,
I'm not blowing past it. I'm just saying I ain't blowing past it. I'm saying fuck athletes and entertainers. That's what I'm telling you.
Now, Mark, I agree with you. When Nick Cannon said what he said, and I know that, brother. All right. And when Kanye said what he said, and Kyrie, they said what they said. They're free people. They got freedom of speech. All right. The one thing in common with what they said is, in all three of their belief systems that they presented, all right, by linking to somebody saying it or saying it themselves, was, y'all are not Jews. All right. Y'all not Hebrews. Y'all are, the synagogue of Satan.
Which is
we
true.
are the people. Now, if I were a Jewish person and I believe that I'm Jewish and you're not, all right, I have gone through my life believing that I'm a Jewish person, going to synagogue, shul every Sabbath and whatnot, and you are on the team that I own, and you say that, I'm gonna shut you down. Like, if as a black man, if I own a team and there are white people in certain white supremacist organizations that's their religion, Odinists, that believe in their religion, that will come up and say some off the wall shit about black people. And if they work for me, they fired. Simple as that. So I understand why they did it. So that's I get that part.
Yeah.
I guess what I'm trying to understand. Look, man, I've been through all that. The books you showing, I've read. Let me
But
explain,
dog,
bro. Let me explain, bro. I'm not trying to be, and I apologize. I'm not the reason why I'm
listen,
so
wait,
confident in what I'm saying, bro,
wait,
is
let's get
I've
off the
been
books
at
for a
you.
minute. Wait, stop, let's stop.
Yeah.
Let's get off the books for a second. Let's get off the books for a second. Niggas
Mhm.
in the league done beat they bitches up, done fucking killed niggas in car crashes
Yeah.
and all types of debauchery bullshit, bro. And they done let these niggas slide. This nigga
Okay,
just
well,
said, hey, he just posted up something about Hebrew Israelite shit.
but bro, if you own the team, Mark, if you own the team or any business, and somebody paying millions of dollars gets up, a white dude gets up and says, all right, you paying this man millions of dollars to play a game, and he gets up and says that you and me and Jonathan, all right,
Yeah, I get what you're saying, bro.
are not even humans. We subhumans. We from the synagogue of Satan,
You
and they the
100% correct.
original man. You gonna penalize? Or you gonna let it slide?
I understand exactly what you're saying. Kyrie have to play the game. He's playing the game.
But I'm
For
saying,
owners of a ball club, he got to play the
right, but
game.
if you own that club and the situation was reversed and some white dude came on talking about that
Oh,
black people is monkeys
hey,
and they subhuman, I don't think you're gonna
hey,
let it slide, bro.
let's keep it a buck. Let's keep it a buck.
Yeah.
Get your check,
Mhm.
Kyrie. You planted your seed. The fire's burning. Go back and play basketball. You
He's
understand what I'm
coming.
saying to you? You did your thing, Kanye. Step off the scene. Go get your own design and shit. We gonna buy that shit. Fuck Adidas. We gonna start showing these niggas what's. It's up to us to lead this charge, dog. We all got the energy. We all got the smarts. We all got the know-how. We all got different sets of people that we pretty much reach out and can pretty much influence. This is about economics, dog. You feel me? Your
But
belief.
hold on. Let me jump in there.
Wait. Hold on. 90% of all these belief systems gonna get you into the pearly gates, whatever you believe in, whatever you want to call it, whatever set you from. It's gonna teach you how to be a good human while you on earth. You understand what I'm saying to you? If you believe what you believe, whatever it is that you believe, it's gotta be it's a peaceful religion. And some religions really ain't, bro. We gotta really understand there is an adversary walking. There is an adversary talking. For us to fail and to recognize that, then you're really not a soldier in God's army. You really can't put on the full armor of God if you don't believe there's an enemy to fight against. Like it tells you that you have there's powers and principalities that you war against. You know, it's not flesh and blood. It's rhetoric. It's ideas. It's beliefs. You feel me? So if one company is exploiting another company willingly all the time, no problem doing it, no feeling about doing it, something's wrong. Like that's human. That's human nature. That's earthly nature. To not if a lion is biting the buffalo's gonna turn around and try to give them the good old get off me shit. You know what I'm saying? He's not gonna just let him bite him. Nobody just let it just happen. We gotta learn how they attack and how we can counterattack. This is beautiful to me. This is a broad display of, oh, this is what you do. This is how y'all do it. This is your greatest weapon right now. And if we knew the stories of Solomon and him conjuring the demons and him making them exploit themselves and telling them what some of their natural talents was, 80% of the demons that he captured and stored away said that their talents was rhetoric, the ability to spread lies. You understand what I'm saying to you?
That's
All right, so
the
let me jump in there now.
well.
Y'all
Let
both
me
Shit
let
is
me
y'all
let me
wild,
touch
bro.
on
Japanese been talking.
all right, real quick.
Let me
Brother
jump in there.
Mark, Brother Mark, I agree with you. I think we talked earlier before this. We both in the complete agreements that you got to own your own brands. And like I last week, I said I ain't never seen an Asian beauty supply store in a white neighborhood. Why is that? Why do we let people profit off us when we need to profit off ourselves? We both in agreement with that. And I
Yeah.
understand what you're saying about Solomon, all right, and what he was doing. Now you know that's why the prophet Ahijah had to come and tell him to cool out, because that's part of the reason he lost the kingdom.
Yeah.
Practicing the
Yeah.
arts he was practicing, the Enochian magic, that was the problem. And the Most High God had a very significant problem with Solomon on that. But in regard to what you are saying, we are in complete agreement that we need to own our own brands. We need to do for self. Just like Elijah Muhammad said, we need to do for self. I remember I read Elijah Muhammad had said that we shouldn't take welfare, that we should do for self, because once somebody's feeding you, they own you. All right. And that's true. He was absolutely right. I mean, you and I both, I'm sure there are things that Elijah Muhammad said, that Noble Drew Ali said, that a lot of brothers said, that we'll be in complete agreement with when it
Yeah.
comes to what we need to be doing as a people. All
Yeah.
right. And right now we're at that place. We got people.
The
that got
dietary
all this
mission,
money.
man. The whole
Yes.
dietary mission they laid out was so spot on that that's what's killing us right now. That's why we can't think, because we
I
don't
agree
eat,
with you.
we don't
The
eat
food,
right.
the food that's I remember my dad telling me that during the Depression, they lived out in Mississippi, they had their own farm. All right. He would tell me how fresh the food would taste, and the stuff, that the eggs, or, when they had the cows and the milk and all that stuff. When you let somebody control your food, all right, that's a dangerous thing. I know we depend on the FDA, but y'all all know that there's stuff that they sell us that you can't even sell in Europe, that they won't allow us sold in Japan, or in Norway. But because the God of this country, I don't care what religion people are, the God of this country is money. That's what people worship. And the worship of money, they let people put in, feed us, give us whatever, predicated on who gonna make a buck off it first. So I
Let me
agree
say
with
so.
you.
Let me step in there and say this right quick. I'll give you another reason why too. And it goes back to that Kyrie and Kanye point of the people and who they are over here. And Hitler even said it himself. Who was over here? He said God, the original Jews. So that's the reason why it's allowed here. They're purposely trying to exterminate us. That's war, bro. It's called a silent war. This was in a protocol way back in the Zionist protocol. The silent war, the rise of the black woman, the feminization of the black man. Like, these are their plans, dog. These are like Zionist plans they written a while ago. This shit is wild, bro. Like you gotta really understand who we
Mark,
up against. Not saying, listen, when I say you, I'm never saying you personally, Mr.
no, I know
Richard.
what you're talking about, bro.
Yeah, I'm saying
I'm
like
not
just
saying,
us in general. You know what I'm saying? So
I'm not even taking it that way. What I am saying though is, Mark, you got a lot of information, and you're a wise young man. And we're gonna have to have a show where me and you just talk, because Jonathan, like, he won't say something. Mark, on the platform in front of everybody here, I'm inviting you back next week for us to talk about these things in detail. A lot of the stuff you and I both have studied, and we can discuss it intelligently so people
yeah.
can grasp it. But I didn't finish my apology though. I know I'm very short when it comes to the Hebrew Israelite stuff, and there's a reason for that. I won't go into it right now. But I will say this: I understand that the identity that we have as Black people, the identities that we're latching on to, there's a trauma behind that, man. And when you get snatched away from your mother, which is your land, and taken somewhere far away, and not allowed to connect with that in any way, that causes some social psychological damage. Y'all read the Willie Lynch letter. That's part of the plan. When they brought the people here, they brought Igbus, Ichikiri, Yorubas, Ashantes, Zulus. They would mix them up on purpose so that nobody could say the same language. Nobody could talk together, to confuse the language so nobody could speak and plot to escape, because that's what men gonna do. Chains can only hold you. Their mind is what holds you. The chains don't. So you got to confuse the language, and you got to beat it out of people. The psychological warfare that was utilized, the black man being the strongest black man being taken and put between two horses and tied with his hands and his feet from one horse to another and pulled apart in front of all the black women and children. That type of stuff is the psychological trauma that our people endured, and we carry that. But I apologize again. I understand that I'm not saying this out of pride, so please don't take it that way. A lot of people are at a place that I've already been. I'm 52 years old, and I've been a lot of places and done a lot of things. Some good, some bad, but mostly good. All right. So there's things that I'm seeing, places I've been. I'm like, God, we still there. But I realize we all go through our walking journey, and we learn through revelation through each path we take. And I do agree with you, no matter what religion a person is. If your religion makes you be a better person, if your religion makes you treat people with respect, all right, and dignity, and first treat yourself with respect and dignity and treat others the same, then I ain't got no problem with your religion. I got atheist friends, Muslim friends, Buddhist friends, Wiccan friends. You know, it doesn't matter as long as it makes you a better person. So that I'm going to say. But Jonathan, I'm gonna shut up because you ain't said nothing. So go ahead, bro. But what, Mark? Do you accept my apology? That's the first question.
Yeah, man. Of course, man. I'll gladly and openly accept your apology. You know what I mean? I want you to understand that there's times when all of us come to a crossroad and we meet somebody that's on a totally different path, that's been on a different path. And then if you're kind enough to actually listen, you'll be enlightened to hear stories that talk about, yeah, they did bring slaves over on boats and we did take them in because we was already here. We was already tried. We was already helping them in wars, fight against other tribes and other ethnicities or other countries that came here too, where the French and the Dutch was fighting when we would team up with the French to fight the Dutch and another tribe. And then Africans came in on boats and shit, and they escaped, and we took them in. So we already been here. So you could have came and got here and landed on a boat, and they brought your ass here. And when you escaped, we took care of you. And we brought you in, and you blended in with us and shit, and it was all good. But we look the same because we've been trading for hundreds of years before they came. We've been openly, freely trading with each other for a long ass time. So the fact that they waged war on us and they came and took our farms and turned them into prison camps, we would call plantations.
I hear you on that, bro.
And they turned slavery into an economic system to where you had to work your way off that bitch. That's why certain people, grandmas, could buy their whole family and make them slaves. And you heard about black people owning slaves. Yeah, bitch, because you didn't want to be owned by a white slave owner. You wanted to work for your grandma on her farm and work all them fucking acres and shit. And you were safe. It's that people don't know about how it really went down from the war part of it, bro. It's war. It's war. It's conquer slowly but surely. The story of Lewis and Clark. I showed a picture on Facebook yesterday. I was live at one of my homegirl spots. She just bought a building and she had a map in that bitch where it showed America, North America was big ass called Louisiana. And it went from Mexico all the way to Canada. Louisiana was what it was called. So it's so much history that a lot of us really just don't have. And to me, it'd be like, dog, this is the part of history you missing in your life. Like if you get this shit, I'm sad that you're granting them. I know I said it's on purpose. You're granting them didn't tell you about this shit, or they taught it to you in school, but you missed it because you heard it from a brainwashed perspective. Because I heard it from like that too. It took a minute for me to get my eyes opened up and say like, damn, bro. When you realize this shit, you be like, wow. Like when you see them pictures of them cutting down them big ass trees over here. You ever heard of you know what a mesa is? Mm-hmm. A mesa, it's a big ass mountain with a flat top, right? Actually, that mesa is a tree. It's a tree stump. That's a big, gigantic ass tree that they cut down, right? Before it became before it was, some trees are still like that are cut down, and then you got some trees that are that big that are petrified now, that we would consider mountains because they're stones, but they just lived through the petrification era, which you would consider the flood. Remember yesterday you brought the flood, and now it's a totally different story on that, the petrification era, bro.
Right.
So
you got petrified trees in the middle of mountains. I seen
that.
Yeah.
So listen, it's told from a different perspective. It don't have this biblical thing with Noah and the ark and all of that. It's a totally different story of titans and giants and all types of shit, bro. Like this shit is wilder than you think. Like it's a lot of people don't have that real fucking history, bro. This fucking planet, how it really went and how it go. Like you gotta get into your ancestral knowledge. I gotta go, fella. I hit the studio. I told y'all that. I love y'all, man. I love the fact that we had this conversation. I love you.
We're gonna talk again, bro. Yeah, we're gonna talk again, bro. But you know, I'll say this: the stories of the flood and the giants and all that stuff are in the Book of Enoch. That's in the Ethiopian text.
Yep.
So
yeah, but listen. But look, that's in Enoch. That's in Hopi tradition. That's in like it's in so many like Aboriginal Native American histories, dog. Like that shit's here too. Like it's been here too. Like before the books even showed up. You know what I'm saying? The Old
We
Testament
gonna
shit.
talk about that, man. I'm pretty familiar with the Amerindian history and the proto, especially down in the south, the proto Mayan, proto Aztecan history. We're gonna talk about that, man, because there's a reason why I feel like I do, but we'll discuss it. When you have more time, brother.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. Let's do that.
Coming on. So, Jonathan, we're gonna chat a little more. I'm gonna send out a couple of links to see if anybody want to join us. All right. So I want to have some balance. But Mark, I appreciate you, brother. All right. We'll talk.
I get with y'all, man. Y'all have a good day.
All right, brother. All right. So, Jonathan, I know that you had a lot to say. We was rambling. We kind of went at it. So go ahead. Where do you want to start, bro?
So, man, back to the subject, which is Kyrie and Kanye. What Mark said was valid. They said what they said, and because of what they said, even though I don't value them as role models or people who can help in the liberation, we are talking about it because of what they said. So they can get credit for that much from sparking discussion. At the same time, okay, Rich, it goes back to what I always said. As far as a platform, we make too much of a platform that they don't really own or really have. The greatest strides we can make for people being conscious of certain things or educating people or getting them to understand anything is a grassroots show or a show like mine or a show like yours. It's not going to be some celebrity who has a bought and paid for platform. We reach who we reach regionally. That doesn't mean that it's lesser than somebody who's famous who could say something. They're not going to. They can't. We can. And so I go back to it's us, our platforms like we have, bringing on diverse brothers with different ideologies, different backgrounds, being able to talk and rap. That's way more powerful than anything that Kyrie or Kanye can say.
Right. Well, and like I said, man, I know that we talked about with Kyrie and what Kanye said, and I'm sure everybody by now who's watched this know I have a fundamental problem with the idea that, because that's what it really comes down to. What offended those Jewish people was the content of the message. The same with Nick Cannon, the same with Kanye, the same with Kyrie. And that is, we are the true Hebrews, they not. That, and honestly, if it were me, I'd have fired them too.
Right.
It's just that simple.
So, but let me ask you.
So I'm saying, if as a black man, if someone said something like that about black people and they worked for me, it's over with.
Mm-hmm. But now here's what we didn't delve into. Mm-hmm. Delve into the fact of the historicity of whether this is true or not from two vantage points. Mm-hmm. Are we the real Hebrews, African Americans that is, and the Hebrews or the Jews, that we see now today, are they the real ones? Now they are Jewish by their religion, of course, but for them, are they the real Jews of the Bible? Knowing those two things really kills the whole anti-Semitic nonsense.
So the first thing, let's talk about, well, we got to talk about one before we talk about it. If we're talking about the Jewish people, was it the Sephardic, the Ashkenazi, all right, that are Israel over in Ethiopia? If we're saying, the question is that you're asking, I want to frame it properly. Are they descendants of Abraham through the lines of the 12 tribes of Israel? Mm-hmm. That's the question you're asking.
That's what we need to clarify. Because the answer to that question is historically is out there. It's a known, so everybody knows it. The answer to that question.
Well,
which is no, they're not.
I'm going to have to disagree with that, but go ahead.
Whoa, Rich. First of all, 70 AD, what happened to the temple?
Temple was destroyed.
Okay, and what is in the what was in the temple that let everybody know who was who, and because they know who Jesus was, they knew who he was, the
Tell
son
me.
of David. They knew. They had records, genealogy records. Those records were destroyed, were they not, Rich?
Well, the temple was destroyed, but yeah, we know. I mean, the stories of Jesus obviously endured with the
No,
Nazarenes,
no, no.
as
I
you
get that,
know.
but I'm talking about the genealogy. When the temple was
Okay.
destroyed in 70 AD, that genealogy which they kept in the temple, they kept in their records, was gone. So from that point on, there is no way possible to definitively say who is what, who is anything. No way possible. There is no history. There is no DNA. There is nothing you can do to find out who are these original biblical Hebrews. Nothing. And God destroyed that temple for a reason, because he did not want the law anymore. Christ had now come, and he made sure it was destroyed for that reason. But that's a whole nother story. But my point is, there is no way historically you can prove who these people are, unless you're talking about
Okay.
converts.
All right. Well, and I get okay. So point number one: better Israel than Ethiopia. All right. The African Jews in South Africa all are genetically linked to the Ashkenani and the Sephardic Jews genetically, and they're also genetically linked to the Palestinians as well.
Mhm.
All right, and Arabs in general. That goes along with the biblical account of Isaac and Ishmael. All right, so if you take a person from Beta Israel and you take an Ashkenani Russian Jewish person and you do a DNA test, they have genetic link.
Okay.
That's science.
You still haven't proved
So
anything.
to me, that indicates that these are people who are descendants of Abraham.
Circumstantial doesn't prove anything.
Because if the
It
Jews, if
proves
the
that they're
Hebrews
from
were
a region.
scattered, here's my thing though, if people were scattered to the ends of the earth, is what the prophecy said in the book in the Bible, that would include Europe, Asia, Africa.
Mhm.
All right, these people were concentrated in the Levant, and you get scattered, you go.
Mhm.
So it stands to reason when you have an Ashkenazi Jew from Russia, or Germany, or Poland, and you have an Ethiopian Jew or a South African Jew, and they have that genetic link, that seems to be consistent with the biblical account. That's why I don't question
What's
if
your
they're
operative
actually.
word?
What's that?
What was your operative word there?
With the
Seems.
genetics? Well,
Seems.
obviously we don't have 100% proof, but then here's my thing. You and I take a genetic test right now. We
Mhm.
take one. I took one. Husafalani, Igbo, very clear. Zulu, in my blood, in my genetics, a large portion of that. Welsh, English, Norwegian, Spanish from Spain, Aztec from down in what is now Mexico. It's
Mhm.
very clear.
Okay, but
So the
Rich,
question is,
go back to the text.
so does that
There
make
is
me a
no.
Hebrew?
But hold on, Rich. Hold on. First of all, Hebrew is a language. It's not a
Okay,
race.
does that make me one of
Wait
the
a minute.
descendants of Abraham? That's
Okay.
what I'm saying.
Okay. And what I'm saying to you is there's no
Mhm.
way humanly possible to determine that. So you, with your DNA test, is it told you where your region you were from?
Mhm.
That's all of that. That's all of that you're saying.
Let me,
And you know,
well,
hold on,
and,
hold
and
on, hold on.
whatever, and we need to have a geneticist on because I don't feel comfortable going that deep into it because I
I
understand
do.
there's different paths of DNA. You got 2 parents, 4 grandparents, 8 grand, so that can get complicated.
So, but I can
What
tell
I'm
you,
saying, brother, if we cannot prove definitively that an Ashkenazi Jew and a person from Beta Israel are descendants of Abraham, then how are we saying that all African people are the original Hebrews? How are we
I
saying
agree
that?
with you, and that's my point. That's my
Okay.
whole point.
Okay, so I can understand we can say, okay, nobody knows. And obviously by conversion, if a person wants to be a Jew, they convert to Judaism. You're a
Right.
Jew. Just that
Right.
simple. So that being said, like with Ben Ami, all right, and the Black Hebrew Israelites that are from Chicago that now live in Egypt
Mhm.
or now live in Israel. Some of them have, they're trying to align their religion with rabbinical Judaism to be, to try to make that connection and make that conversion. I believe that's what they're working on. Some that already have.
And see that
But bro,
I got a problem with that.
I guess, bro, my point is though, when Kanye or Kyrie or Nick Cannon, whoever insinuates that they're not, we are, I have a problem with that. To me, that's mythology.
Right. It's the same problem I have on the reverse. Yeah.
Right. Because that's the same thing that white nationalist supremacist groups do. You got groups out there that claim they're the real Jews, and they're not. Right. All right. So I don't like I guess my thing is, okay, you could be. I don't know. But what we do know is I'm looking at you, you're looking at me. We both clearly have African ancestry. It's the most dominant thing you see in us. All right. If you look at pictures from people in parts of Africa where your regions come from, you'll see people looking like family members you have here. All right. I work with a person from Cameroon. Before I did my ancestry test, he said, I bet you most of your people come from Cameroon. I said, why do you say that? He says, because you look like it. So when I did the test, that's one of the biggest regions my ancestors are from, Cameroon. He looked at me and could see that as an African. My problem is we don't want to see that. That's why we keep making up this mythological stuff. We don't want to see that we are Africans, that we are. And I don't want to hear Africans don't like us because you had a bad conversation with some Nigerians or something. All right. You ain't met every African. Okay. That being said, to me, I think we've embraced the type of white supremacy where we feel Africa is inferior, so inferior that we have to make up places to be from. We're the real Egyptians. We're the real Hebrews. We're the original Native Americans. Everything, but what is obvious.
So here's the thing, Rich, and I've said this to Mark when he used to be on the whole tip real strong, and I said this to him. I use African. And I'm not disputing what you said, but this is why I think this is why a little disdain happens. One of the questions I always ask, are we from Africa, right? We got slaves, and I got all that, right? When you niggas got on your feet, why didn't you fucking come and get us? Why didn't you wage war and come get us? That's my problem. That's my problem. I got a problem with that, Rich.
Let me say this much. If we're talking about 1600s, 1700s, and 1800s, technology was a little different. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've been to the beach, right?
Yeah.
You've been to the Atlantic?
Yeah. No, I haven't been to the Atlantic, but I can imagine.
The
Atlantic is on the East Coast, right?
Yeah, the Atlantic East Coast.
Yeah, I've been to the Atlantic. Yeah.
Have you ever flown over the ocean and looked out the window?
No.
Do that. Fly over the ocean, look out the window. I can tell you why nobody came. First of all, they probably didn't know what the hell was happening. All right, it wasn't like they had the internet to know what was going on. It wasn't like too many of us made it back to tell them.
No, but right? No, Rich. That's not when. That's not when they should have came and got us. When technology got to a point where you could find out what's going on, why didn't you wage war and come and get us?
In the 1900s?
No, I'm talking about since in our generation, Rich.
The 20th century.
The 1960s, we was getting our asses kicked. Why didn't you come get us? Huh?
So were they.
I don't worry about so were they. Why didn't you come get us? Why did they come get us, Rich?
All right, you do realize
if your son was taken from you, there is nothing you wouldn't do to go get him.
I hear what you're saying.
That's what I'm talking about.
I'm not making excuses, but I am saying that this is during, the British Royal Navy was the most powerful navy on earth for quite a long time.
I know what you're gonna say.
All right, so I'm saying that you are talking about people who were being colonized and exploited themselves for their materials by the British Empire. Okay. And later by other European powers with superior technology and firepower. I don't think that it was practical. All right. Honestly, dare I say that most of them didn't know the extent of our situation over here. There's Africans right now who don't know the extent of what slavery was here and what Jim Crow was here. So, I mean, I used to always
So you're
assume
saying
that
they're
everybody
just
in the
so
world,
damn inferior they couldn't have done it.
not inferior. It's
Yeah,
nothing to do
that's
with inferior.
inferior.
If you give them the same tools, technology comes in waves. There was a point where the Asians had superior technology in China. There was a point where the Romans had superior technology. There was a point where Africans had superior technology in the kingdom of Axum and Kush. It goes like that. It's not a matter of who's not bright. It's a matter of timing. All right. Things happen and then you move with it. As humans, if we invent the wheel, eventually somebody gonna make a bike. And it can happen in 3 different places. Somebody might do it a little faster. So it's not about Africans being inferior. I don't feel Africans are inferior to anyone else, nor do I feel Europeans are superior to anyone else.
But
I
you
think
would
that we're
give
all on
them
the
an
same page.
excuse for not coming to get us.
Not an excuse. It's just the reality of the situation. All right. There are people right now locked in the prison, right? And if they find out that their child is being abused, what are they gonna do? Break out the prison? Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think like they may not understand the extent of what slavery was, chattel slavery was in the United States. I don't think we understand the extent of what colonialism was. All right. It's like being a house arrest. It's like being a prisoner in your own home. And also remember the fact that these are groups of people that did not see themselves as black people. All right. They saw themselves as Ichikiri, Yoruba.
They ass know they
Igbo.
black now.
Well, now they do, but I think a lot of people are catching on to that. But the fact is, at the time, I think that you have to give people the benefit of the time that they lived in and the worldview that they had and the information that they had. And also you have to understand, just like how slavery was for us, was colonialism was something else. It was a very different thing.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm not giving them a pass. But now let's talk about right now. Right now.
Ghana. Come get me.
Right now in Ghana.
Go to the UN.
Okay.
Go to the
you
UN.
And me.
Demand reparations. Demand justice.
They're saying you and me. People in Ghana, every black person looking, watching. People in Ghana say, "Come on over, come back. Have dual citizenship." Listen to what I'm saying, brother. Listen to what I'm saying. We can ask for the things you're saying for. Do I believe we could go to the World Court, African, West African countries, South African countries, African Americans, Afro-Caribbeans, Afro-Latinos, say, hey, Europe need to pay up. The Dutch, the French, the Spanish, the English need to pay up. And this is Portuguese, this is how we're going to do it. We're going to, for infrastructure for African countries and Caribbean countries, for giving money to people to go back and build and own property and build businesses. We can ask for that. Do I think they'll do it? No, but we can ask for it. Mm-hmm. While we're asking for that, those of us who have wealth, who have education, who have knowledge, that they're welcoming, saying, come back, keep your American citizenship. We're going to give you dual citizenship, but come here and build with us. We can do that. None's stopping us. Skip buying a couple pair of Yeezys, get on the plane, all right, fly to Accra, Ghana, all right, meet some people and see what you can build.
So what you saying to do that on our own dollar? No. If you can't fight, if we're going
to be waiting, we can't wait for somebody to give us something, bro.
Rich, I'm not waiting for anybody to give us something, but it's speaking to, at least for me, maybe some of the disdain of not wanting to be African. Because to me, what you're saying is we're too weak and docile. We can't fight for you and come get you, but you can come over here with your money. That's what I'm hearing. I think
that we're in a better position to do so, bro.
I'm not disagreeing. I don't disagree. I don't disagree. Right. I don't disagree. I just have a problem with them. With the advent of social media, we're a click away from being in Ghana right now.
Hold on a second.
Where is?
Well, go ahead.
I was gonna say, where is the come back? We will help you. If you come back, we will help you. And so why would I want to identify with a people that have just basically said, left me over here and be like, all right, y'all got the better end of the stick. We over here, we need your help.
Well,
why I want to fuck with them? Why?
Let me sound like a Nazi, okay? Since we were talking about the Bible. All right. There's a man named Joseph, the youngest brother of those brothers that ended up being the 12 tribes of Israel, right?
Yeah.
What happened to Joseph? Since we want to see ourselves in biblical stories,
Rich, let's see ourselves
in this story, okay?
Stop making a good analogy. I'm trying to win this argument.
The youngest brother, all right? The youngest brother who said, they told you, you're going to be king one day. The prophet told me to be king. And he told his brothers, hey, I'm going to be the king. They beat his ass. Said, well, we're not going to kill him, but we're just going to sell him into slavery. What did some of our brothers and sisters do to our brothers and sisters that ended up over here? Sold us into slavery, right? So they sold us into slavery. He got sold into slavery. And he went through it. He was imprisoned, all right? Bad things were happening. And then one day, all those bad things happened. He becomes second to the Pharaoh. Did he not?
That's true.
And when his brothers who had sold him into slavery, who beat his ass and left him for dead because they didn't want him to shine, all right? They got brought before him one day, destitute, famine. You know, you hear about famines in Africa, all right? They were down in their luck, all right? What did he do to them?
He embraced them and loved them with open arms.
All right. So, since we want to see ourselves in the Bible so bad, and that's when I said the stories of the Bible tell us things that's true. We can see ourselves in that story very easily. So, our brothers who sold us into slavery, all right, left us for dead, forgot about us. And now we're in a position to embrace them. And like I said, for all the African Americans watching, I don't care about the 1 or 2 rude Nigerians you met or the rude Ethiopian you met. You know, skip a couple pair of them Yeezys, go see for yourself. You know, y'all like going to, the Caribbean and to, Dubai. Dubai. So skip them Yeezys, go to Accra. They'll get some very nice 5-star luxurious hotels. And tell me how the people treat you. Go to Sierra Leone, go to Ivory Coast, go to Liberia, and tell me how the people treat you. If any of you guys do that, then I'll hear your bullshit about how Africans don't like us. All right? When you go to Africa and tell me that's what they did. All right? And don't get me wrong, you can go to the hood anywhere. All right? You can go to Nigeria, go to the hood in Lagos and get jacked up, just like you will if you go to the hood in LA or Detroit or Chicago. I'm not saying go to the hood in Africa, because everywhere got a hood. All right. But go to, make some regular connections with regular people. And I want you to tell me how they treat you when you get there. And if you say that they treated you badly and like you won nothing, then okay, then I'll believe it. But I'm not caring about the rude Nigerians you met in college, or the rude Nigerian that you know from the store, or the rude Ethiopian who thought he was aloof and looked down at you. I'm not hearing about that. Those are individual interactions. All right. So I'm asking every black person, skip some Yeezys, skip them Jordans for one cycle. Skip that trip to Dubai where y'all on Facebook talking about, hey, y'all, we here. All right. I want to see some, hey, y'all, we here. And you in Liberia, Sierra Leone, Ghana, Ivory Coast. All right. And then I'll believe what you tell me once you go there and actually endure it. And let me know how you treat it. Go to South Africa. Go to Zimbabwe. Tell me how you treat it. And if they treat you badly, I'm like, okay, well, you went to Africa and all. Everybody that you saw was mean to you and rude. But y'all go to places where everybody is rude to you. You complain that you go and they follow you around stores. I'm not going to mention the countries or the groups of people. But you mad because one African treated you badly, So that's all I'm saying, bro. I'm saying, and I know that I don't want to sound like I'm beating a dead horse, and I am, but the fact of the matter is, yes, there are those of us who are Hebrew people, and there are those of us who convert to Judaism. You know, it is what it is. I'm not trying to say that you can't be or you aren't, but when we look at each other, we see what we know who we are. You know, so let's stop being ashamed of Africans. Stop making up mythical stories.
Yeah,
All right. Even if, go ahead.
I was gonna say, and just telling Africans, let's put a little bit more effort into coming to get us. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna let up on that. They need to put a little bit more effort in coming to get us, bro. I got a problem with that.
So you think they should launch? You think they should launch a reparations
all of the countries in Africa need to march their ass up to the UN and at least make some noise for us. I'm sorry, Rich. I got a problem that they haven't done that. Whether it's futile or not, it at least stirs up the conversation. I'm sorry, Rich.
Well, there's more
enough legal precedent to say, hey, we know what the fuck happened.
But didn't Muammar Gaddafi do that? That was one of the things he did.
Yeah, what happened with him?
Well, maybe, you know, like I said, I'm not gonna be for Team Gaddafi or not, but I don't know. You know, I'm not from Libya. I don't know what he did to Libyan people. They seem rather happy when they got him. You know, so I don't know what was going on.
Yeah, the 14 people that was around there seemed happy. Yeah, okay.
Well, man, that was a lot of people. I saw
it was angled to that video, bro. It was angled to that video.
Well, I'm saying, if most people are for you, the 14 people ain't getting near you.
I'm listening.
All right. Hey, if you want your people, go somewhere and try to get at try to go get at the minister. All right. If you go to
Rich, all I'm saying,
all right, it ain't gonna happen. You'll never make it.
Right. I get it, but Rich, I can't believe that because it was orchestrated by the United States, and you know what we do to the leaders that we don't like.
Yeah, well, that's a different discussion. Exactly. I hear what you're saying because you don't know. Unfortunately, you know, governments do wicked things, and I don't put nothing past any government, even our own. You know, rich people do wicked things. You know, multinational corporations, they want a leader gone, and there's enough oil there, they want you out the way. You're gonna be out the way. You know, so that could be a few different things we could talk about there. But I guess again, I'm gonna leave it at. I'm glad we brought up that Joseph story because that is a great analogy. I never.
I was hating as soon as you said
it. Well, we talking biblical stories, and you know me. I'm always saying in the book of Genesis, and in the Torah, the first 5 books, in all of the Bible, there are things that are telling us things. You know, people are looking for these literal things, and sometimes it's not the literal thing that's the point. It's the point of the story that's the point.
Right.
All right. You know, a show about that where I talk about, you know, the scriptures. But again, all I'm saying, bro, we both agree. I'm just saying that if you attack and they feed you, of course they're going to stop feeding you. It's just that simple. So they acting like they slaves. Nobody made them go play in the NBA. Nobody made Kanye decide he wanted to sign record contracts and make shoes with Adidas. All right. It is what it is, you know. All right. I work for, you know who I work for. If I start talking crazy, then my butt's on the unemployment line, you know. So ultimately, you know, it is what it is. Now, do I think that Kyrie got dogged out way too much for what happened at 5? And I'm like, God dang, bro. He put a link to a book. Right. He just wanted to put it up for thought. You know what I'm saying? But on the other hand, I can't blame, you know, Jewish people for being that. We ain't taking none of that. You know, we as African Americans take too much of that.
There you go.
And we let people slide, especially when they share our skin color. You know, like when Kanye was saying all the anti-Black stuff. People said, well, he didn't get canceled for saying that. No, because we didn't cancel him. Right. He was too busy saying he's a genius.
Right.
Defending cut. You know, so at the end of the day, man, we have to, if we want people to feel it, then we need to make them feel it. Make them feel it for real.
But here's the real truth of it. As a Christian, Judeo-Christians, whether you're Jew or not is irrelevant in our tradition anyway. There's no
Well, in the
Jew
Christian
or
tradition,
Gentile in Christ.
well, in the Jewish tradition, when the Jews told the other Jewish person, John the Baptist, that they didn't need to repent because they were children of Abraham. And he said to them that God can make children of Abraham from the stones, which was a metaphor of the Gentiles, which is what he did. You know, Christians are grafted into, you know, into the ancestry of Abraham because we are one in Christ and God in Christ. So that's what that is. So it's really irrelevant. I have a problem. You know, I've known a lot of Hebrew Israelites, obviously, from being one and from being around them and maintaining relationships. And what gets me scared, like I know some people that were hardcore Christians, and then they start going, you know, start listening to Messianic stuff, Messianic Hebrew stuff. And it starts off like this. All right. Oh, I'm so excited. I'm learning about the Hebrew roots of the Bible. I'm learning about the Hebrew roots of Jesus and the apostles. Cool. Man, I'm learning about the Hebrew holidays. I learned about Pentecost and Passover. And, you know, I learned about the Feast of Tabernacles. Cool. All right. Then the next thing, yeah, I'm celebrating services on Sabbaths now. That's an eyebrow raise. Okay. That's good. Next thing, man, you know, I ain't eating no more unclean foods, you know, pork. Okay. Then it turns to you go to church on Sunday. You're not really a believer.
Right.
And you call him Jesus when you should call him Yeshua.
Yeah.
You're not really a believer. And then Jesus and Yeshua are two different people. You know, Brother Mark touched on that one. There was no J in Alpha. I'm like, Lord, if I hear that one more time. Okay. First of all, it was a Greek letter.
I don't even tackle that conversation.
No. It was Ilsis. If you look in the New Testament, when they say Isaiah, they say Isaias. All right. When they say different names, they say in the Greek equivalent, because at that time they were using what is called the Septuagint, a Greek translation of the Hebrew scriptures, of the Tanakh, of the Torah, the Nevi'im, and the Ketuvim. It was in Greek. That was the common language, Greek and Aramaic. So Elijah, Elias, Isaiah, Jesus, Isus. Now that languages evolve, the letter J was created for English. All right. Languages evolve, alphabets evolved. All right. To me, it's as stupid as someone saying that my name is Richard. And in Italian, it's Riccardo. And those are two different people because the languages are different. That's as stupid as it is to me. All right. And I'm not trying to make light of it, but I've seen people have whole debates about something that's stupid. That's stupid. All right. To the point, then they want to get deep. So they take out the J in every word they got and put a Y there and act like they're being deep. You know, you can't have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich no more. It's peanut butter and jelly because they got to be deep. Everybody got to be deep. But throw a Y as opposed to the J because you can't use a J. Or have you heard this one? Jesus. It means, hey, Zeus.
Oh, yeah.
Zeus.
I can't even with that.
I'm like, on dead homies, man. What is you talking about, man? And they serious about this as if they brought some great revelation on something so ignorant.
But see, that's part of my point with Kanye and Kyrie. What they were trying to convey, as malformed and malshapen as the truth they were trying to convey is, there's some of us who kind of already knew this stuff. I posted something about Chuck D. Remember Chuck D? had I don't know what it was, conference, symposium. It was some political figures there, and Chuck D talked about the music industry and how you only playing this kind of music instead of playing the conscious music with it. I mean, that kind of like, if you didn't already know who was running it and what they were doing, then your head is in the sand, and you living your life, and you ain't really out here knowing or reading nothing. Like what Kanye said was not profound. It just wasn't. It was just like, guess what, Rich? You got a beard and water's wet, man. Ooh, it's the truth. Ooh, Kanye, he told the truth, man. Yeah, they gonna shut it down because he said Richard had a beard and water's wet. I'm like, man, if y'all don't calm down with this, man, we've been knowing this. What else is new?
Mm-hmm.
That's why I was like, there's nothing profound about that. We've always known that. And guess what? You niggas continue to listen to the shit. So nothing's going to happen. So shut up. So shut up.
I hear what you're saying, brother. Again, my thing with it is people were acting like Kanye said something deeper. To me, just saying a bunch of ignorant land of make-believe bullshit. And then I think that black folk want to grab hold of that bullshit because it sounds good and it's better than being from what we feel is inferior, which is Africa.
Right, because they ain't come
to it. Yeah, it's better to be. Now, brother, I'm going to read this to you. Mm-hmm. The people of Ghana, all right? The government has negotiated with local chiefs to earmark 500 acres of land in the nation's centers for newcomers, carving out enough space for about 1,500 families, all right? Waived, the registration fees, survey fees are waived for members of the African diaspora, which is us. All right. They call this a year of return. All right. That we can go to Ghana and get and buy property and build. They're inviting us back to do this. All right. Inviting us back. We could, here's what they're saying, the tourism minister. We continue to open our arms and invite all of our brothers and sisters of the diaspora home. Build a life in Ghana. You do not have to stay where you're not wanted forever if we claim we're not wanted here. All right? That country became independent in 1957, and they've been trying to get their stuff together. All right? And now they have it to the degree of togetherness that they're saying, come on over here. They say right now 3,000 African Americans live there. All right. The government has calls them to stop calling us foreigners. Now they call us brothers and sisters from the diaspora. All right. So I'm going to say this again. We always talk about being ballers and being business owners and landowners and all this. Like I said, skip a couple episodes of Love and Hip Hop. Don't buy the Yeezys, all right? Don't buy the brands, the Coach and the Gucci and all that stuff we got to have to act like we're somebody, all right? Don't get that $700 a month car note, drive the hoopty for another year, and go over there and see what they're talking about. If you are so disenfranchised, if you are so America hate us, and okay. My brothers and sisters in Ghana, I've heard in Sierra Leone and Ivory Coast and parts of South Africa. Come on back. All right. Now, unless we're willing to admit that
we ain't going nowhere because we like ESPN.
Exactly. We ain't trying to give up the American creature conference or being willing to take the time to rebuild it there. People can talk about Mexicans all they want to. All right, the so-called illegal immigrants who come here and work for seasons and send their money back to Mexico. Mm-hmm. When they go back to Mexico, they dip back and forth across the border. That money they send home, they got nice homes down there, man. Their families living real good. All right, I dare us to do that. Go to Ghana, buy some land, build a house, come back here, make more money. Send money back, just keep building, have somewhere to retire to, help build the country. I'm just saying, I'm not sticking on Ghana, whatever country you feel you're going to go back to. But I'm saying, bro, It's like this, man. I mean, we talk a good game, but do we mean it? Talk a good game,
Mhm.
but we like our creature comforts here. We like arguing about freedom and equality as we go to Starbucks and sip our macchiato. We like talking about how oppressed we are from our 24th floor apartment downtown Chicago overlooking the lake. We like talking about how much we're part of the struggle and how oppressed we are as we go through the mall spending our hundreds of thousands of dollars on clothes to, as the grand verbalizer, Brother Lesson, Funky Lesson Brother Jay said.
Mhm.
What do you say? This tangled web we weave, always trying to obtain, no attempt to achieve. The brother said what he said, African, very African. Come and
Mhm.
step in Brother's temple, see what's happening. That brother is deep. He knew what it was.
Mhm.
All right. Everything he said was true. All right. That brother was deep, ahead of his time deep. All right. My friend Andre is saying, why lead this country? Why lead this country if we have blood and soil in it?
Oh, I'm not leaving, Andre. I'm not. Oh no, I'm just
But
saying.
hear me out, though. Hear me out. If that is the case, then we need to build. I hear the brothers and sisters in the ADOS movement and the Free Black Men movement asking for reparations, right? And I will say, do we deserve reparations? Absolutely. Will we get them? Probably not. But in the meantime, we got all these millionaire black folk. I got 3 degrees. How many you got?
I got one. I got 1 and 3 licenses.
All right. I do pretty well. How about you?
I ain't complaining.
Okay. So, at what point do we do like our slave ancestors did when they
got out
of slavery? At what point do we build our free towns? At what point do we build our Black Wall Street again?
Right.
When we built Black Wall, them people that had nothing that we had, they built Black Wall Street to the point it pissed off them white folks so much they bombed it.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm armed. You armed?
No, sir.
Well, I'm armed. I got a Kalashnikov. I got a Glock. I got a Great Coat 9. I got all kind of stuff. I know a lot of us. I know the homies is armed. No, a lot of the homies.
It's scrapping up in Detroit, though. There's a lot of us scrapping up, bro.
All right, so everybody armed, right? We all armed to the teeth. Every black person on here without a felony, which I'm sure is quite a lot, whether they want us to believe that or not, can go out and get as armed as they want to be. We could get a group of 3,000 of us as armed as we want to be and go buy some property somewhere in South Dakota or something. Somewhere in Southern Illinois. Shoot, there's a lot of space there. Mm-hmm. And build a whole town if we want to. Why we did it?
It's cold in Illinois. That's why, man. We're tropical people, B. Come on, man.
Okay, well, why don't we go down to Miami? Trick Day got him a restaurant, training them, building down there. We can build with them. All I'm saying, cuz, is that we could get together and start the gangster disciples, start the vice lords, start the Stones, the Bloods, the Crips, criminal enterprises, and run blocks and say they ours when they're not. But we can't positively get together and really buy those blocks and really build.
We can.
So while I would be happy if the United States gave us reparations, I think, honestly, the more logical thing to do, let me put my position out there for the record. My position is a logical one. It is illogical for African Americans to be seeking reparations and arguing Afro-Caribbeans and Afro-Latinos about who's supposed to get them. If anything, those of us in the diaspora should be going to the World Court and asking for reparations for all of us in the diaspora to come from the European countries that participated in the slave trade, be it Portugal, Spain, France, the United States, and the United Kingdom, all right, and the Dutch. Pay up. That's the reparations we should be seeking. We over here arguing in California with Afro-Latinos or half black, half white black folk, arguing with Africans that have been here for 3 generations about them not getting nothing. Y'all, we gonna get reparations. Y'all not, we arguing over money we ain't gonna get. All right. We are disassociating with other black people who are now, because let's be real, Afro-Latinos, it took a minute for them to catch on to their blackness.
Yeah.
All right. For a while there, they want nothing to do with us.
Right.
right? Because they believed all the bullshit that was told about us on the media. They just stayed like Africans, staying away from us because we so bad. Now that people have found out a couple generations later, they are understanding their blackness a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
And they're able to share with us about their Africanism, because they know about Africa very much, because they got to keep their art, they got to keep their language. That's why there's African words that are in the language in Puerto Rico and in Brazil and in Cuba and Dominican Republic, because they got the Spanish didn't squash all that out of them. That's why you have the religion of Santeria, the religion of voodoo, that are based on West African religions. All right. So all I'm saying is that we can build together. That's why, what the Grand Verbal say, are you working to raise a flag? R to the zero. If we really want to do it, we don't have to wait for a handout from these people. And it might be what's owed to us, but we don't got to wait for that. We can create wealth. How many millionaires do we have now? How many millionaires did black people have when they built Black Wall Street? I think Madam C.J. Walker might have been a millionaire at that time. Mm-hmm. That's one. How many can you name off the top of your head right now?
None.
Millionaires
now?
Right now. Mm-hmm.
Hold on. I go to the bar with them all the time.
All right. So all I'm saying, people, black people, my people, we can build here, we can build there. We can do both. All right. There's people who are from other countries that have built in their home country. All right. Our home country is the United States. Mm-hmm. This is where we're born. All right. This is our home country. There are people that go to other countries and build and make money and still stay in their home country. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So my thing is, we should start trying to connect the village. Like I said, if we can get together and build a set, build a mob, build a record label, we do that all the time. We love building record labels.
Yeah, we love
it. All right. But why didn't we build a bank? And I see my friend Andre, he's put up what he said. Lineage-based repairs already been decided in California. Yeah, I see what they're talking about. They've commissioned a study. Mm-hmm. That's liberal bullshit talk for, we're gonna study. We're gonna commission.
What the fuck? What are they studying?
All right, let's look up what's going on in Cali. This is my boy.
What the fuck are they studying? Slaves, give us money. That's the end of the study. Pay me millions.
Well, the last part I heard, they were arguing about who should get it. California Reparations Task Force.
Really?
So there's a California Assembly Bill 3121 establishes this is what I'm talking about. It's that bullshit. California Assembly Bill 3121 establishes this task force to study, develop reparation proposals for African Americans with a special consideration for African Americans who are descendants of persons enslaved in the United States. The purpose of this task force, this is from their website. The purpose of this task force is to study and develop reparation proposals for African Americans, to recommend appropriate ways to educate the California public on the task force findings, and 3, to recommend appropriate remedies and considerations of the task force findings. This is by statute. I'm seeing the people that are here. They're having meetings and they're talking about it, and I've been following it, and I'm like, the left does this, and this is why. Look, I'm gonna tell you, there's racism on the right. There's racism in the Republican Party. Mm-hmm. True, right? Mm-hmm. We believe that there's a thing called systemic and institutional racism, correct?
Right.
One of those systems is the political system in America, right? Mm-hmm. The institutions that form the political system of America, 2 of them are the Republican and Democratic Party. So if you can plainly see with your eyes that the institution of the Republican Party has some racism in it, then why can't you see it with the Democratic Party?
That has been my point.
This is the type of stuff they do. This is the type of stuff that pisses me off about the Democrats and the left. You give us this bullshit, and there are people. Here's my thing, bro. You're giving us this. This is emotional. It's manipulative. Give us some real policy that's actually affecting the day-to-day lives of black people in California. Is this helping anybody in the hood right now? We should get Trey D on here and ask him how's this helping Long Beach in the hood. Mm-hmm. Or we should get, the brothers from 60s on and say, how's this helping South Central Los Angeles, this task force? What's it doing for you? Has it helped you guys establish any home ownerships or businesses, or has it dealt with the education problem in your schools? You give us this tap dance with the stuff that you control. What are you doing with it? Like Chicago. Chicago's controlled by Democrats. We know this, right? Since Daley's time, maybe even before then, Democrats. Democrats who we, as African Americans, 95% of the time vote for, right? In Chicago, they keep voting in the same people. You vote in people, what do they do? Over the last 50 years in Chicago, in my lifespan, what have they got? Worse schools, higher crime, less economic growth, less jobs, lower home ownership, more mental health issues, less access to medical and mental health services. We can go down the line. But they want to talk to you about reparations. I remember in New York, for example, the New York City Council. New York City Council said they wanted Thomas Jefferson's statue removed from this General Assembly, their little where they do their city council meetings, right? Okay, cool. Because he was a slave owner. Okay, he was. How did it help anybody in the boogie down? How did moving that statue help anybody in Harlem, Queens, Brooklyn, Queensbridge?
Like I said,
who did help? It felt good. Ooh, they moved the statue for us.
It's the emotional feel goods that we settle for. And
right.
We're like, oh.
And this is what and I'm saying this is all this reparations talk is. Emotional manipulation to get us to vote Democrat. Because this task force, and I'm looking at the reparations task force, I'm saying if I say the R's on the name of anybody involved here, or are these all Democrats? I don't see no R's, my friend. I see D's. I get what they claim that they're doing, and I get why some of us are with that objective. But again, they're not doing this. All emotional manipulation. That's how the left's racism manifests. You know, we're going to help you Negroes. You know, and my friend Andre says we know Democrats offer nothing. What the Republicans offer. I'm not saying vote Republican. All right. I am a Republican. Half the time, I don't vote Republican. I vote for people. I vote for the person who is going to do something for my community. And if that person don't do it, unlike the black folks in Chicago keep electing the same city council to people, all right, every time, and they do nothing, and then maybe close election time, they fix a pothole in front of your house, and then they vote for these people. All right. My thing is this. You vote for the people who are going to get it done. My friend Andre asked me, why be a Republican? Same people, why be a Democrat? I'm a Republican because of Colin Powell and General Eisenhower. All right? That's the type of Republican I am. I agree with General Eisenhower's worldview. I agree mostly with Colin Powell's worldview. All right? That's the truth. Historically, when I look at the public policy platforms that General Eisenhower did when he was president, I agree with all that. Now, to the average Republican now, what General Eisenhower is doing is communism. But to them, because things have changed. I stayed part of the Republican Party because I would like the party to change, and I try to hold the party accountable for its racism. You know, if there's racism in the party, point it out, man. Look, this is bullshit. All right, why are we riding with this? Put people's feet to the fire, you know, which I hope the black Democrats do to racist Democrats. But at the same time, I'm not beholden to the party. You know, I'm beholden to my community, my family first, and my community second. You know, so that's where, you know, Republican is just an adjective. You know, I'm about my people, my family, my people, my community. All right. That's what we should all be about, I believe. That's why I ask people in Chicago. I don't care if it's a Democrat, or Republican, Independent, a Green Party, Libertarian, whoever it is. If they deliver you some better schools, vote for them. All right. Chicago school system is horrible, and it gets worse. It gets worse. And all the cities that are controlled by the Democrats, the school systems are horrible. They're terrible. You know, And, being part of the reason I'm a Republican is because I'm a conservative, right? I am a conservative without question. Mm-hmm. Right now, the Republican Party has most of its platform is congruent with my conservative positions. The things that aren't, I don't roll with, And unfortunately, we have a dual party system right now because we've allowed the parties to ingrain themselves in government to the point that they are part of the system of government. And whereas these parties would have normally evolved into different things, they're so part of the structure of government. For example, you and me, taxpayers, we pay for the Republican and Democrat primaries. Our tax dollars. These are private organizations. Why are we paying for their primaries?
I don't get it, man.
They've rent-seeked themselves into government to the point where if you were independent, they make rules to make it hard for you to run. They change the rules on you. So I think that at some point we need to think about why we only have these two parties and why they haven't naturally evolved into other things like they did before. We have to have that conversation because conservative first, Republican second. You know what I'm saying? But that being said, my boy Andre, I appreciate him coming on. Andre, I'm going to send you a message, brother. I would love to have you on the show. My boy Andre is a very deep brother as well. A very intelligent brother, very, very knowledgeable brother. We don't agree on everything. We agree on the things that count, though. Because I think that he and I and you and Mark and every other brother watching actually cares about our people. We want what's best for our people. I think we want what's best for the whole country, regardless. But we do want what's best for Black people. I think we want what's best for everybody. But, charity starts at home.
And I just want Black people to get out of nigga shit. Yeah, I said it, and I meant it.
Okay, well, I can't say that. I'll drop a few S-bombs. I'll probably get passes for that. But, I try to.
I say it religiously.
Yeah, well, I say it. I just try not to. I've been working. The Lord is working on my heart. Pray for me. I literally would like to purge that word out of my system.
Why? It's applicable. There's some people who are, and we identify.
I understand that, but
see them point them out.
There are better words that I could use to describe,
but they're not as effective.
I think that the reason why I'm trying to stop using the words because of that. And now we reached a point, I believe, when you saw everybody going in on Fat Joe for using it, which I thought was hilarious. I know that. He's obviously an Afro-Latino. He obviously has. So somebody showed a picture of him when he was a kid. He had straighter hair. I said, yeah, like most light-skinned people we know.
Right. You know what I'm saying? The mother of my kids has straight hair.
Yeah. So, but my thing is, this is what's wrong with this generation of African Americans. That one, they think that hip hop culture is Black culture, which it is not. Right? Hip hop culture is not Black culture. Is there many things in hip hop culture that comes from Black culture? Yes, but hip hop culture is hip hop culture. It's its own thing. Born in the boogie down Bronx, you know that. Blacks, Latinos, Italians, everybody in the hood who was broke created hip hop, and there were some white faces in that bunch. All right. So it's funny for me growing up listening to Run DMC and the Beastie Boys and whatnot. It's funny when I hear people say that Eminem is a guest of hip hop. I'm like, Beastie Boys, Everlast.
I'm going to push back on you, Rich. I'm going to push back on you.
Please push back.
While the roots may have been multicultural, it is undeniable that the African American influence and the abundance of African American hip hop artists is what affects the culture now. Well, it may have been that in the beginning, but it is not so now.
But now look at what we have now. All right. Hip hop culture is literally killing our children right now.
I agree.
Because when it started as that multicultural thing of graffiti and DJing and rapping and breakdancing,
it was about fighting.
When it started, it was all so that we wouldn't fight, we wouldn't gangbang. All right. One of the reasons got caught up in mob shit is because I was a breakdancer and a DJ.
Mm-hmm.
So I had something to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if I would battle people as a breakdancer, I battled people on the turntables, and we all lived and walked away, and we didn't kill each other. Now we have people. I hear young rappers talk about Ice Cube. All right, Ice Cube. You know what they say about Ice Cube now?
What?
Oh man, Cube, man, Cube wasn't no real gangster, you know. I'm like, I'm sorry. Ice Cube had to be a real gangster to be a rapper. That's like saying that Al Pacino, you hear a bunch of Italians go around, man, Al Pacino, he wasn't even in the mafia. You know, he wasn't in any of the 5 families. He wasn't a real gangster. So he shouldn't do The Godfather. All right. And here's my thing. I do take exception when I hear people saying Eminem is a guest in hip hop, and I know the Beastie Boys were there. You know, I know that Everlast was there, you know, and Third Base was there. You know, yeah, for the most part, most rappers are going to be black and some Latinos. You know, that's just who we are because the music part of hip hop borrows heavily from disco and R&B and African music. You know, Afro-Caribbean music, it borrows from that. The original beats, who was breaking to that, borrows heavily from Latino music from Puerto Rico and Dominican Republic. And of course, our disco and R&B, you know, that's black folks, we bring the rhythm. That's what we bring, you know? So, but at the same time, now we've allowed the culture, and now, man, we own about an hour and 41 minutes. we have to chop this video up, but we've allowed the culture, we've allowed hip hop culture to now become a negative force that's killing our children.
Yep.
It really is what it is. And it saddens me to say that. I love hip hop. I'm a DJ. I don't
even recognize it as hip hop.
You see the gray hair. You know what this gray hair means, I can say? When hip hop first came out.
Me too. I was little.
Right.
I was little, but I remember.
Me and my friend Andre, who's talking, we can both say when hip hop first came out. Andre is a talented producer. We've always been talented in music and breakdancing and stuff like that. And we can say when hip hop first came out. And it pains me to see what it is now.
Yeah, I don't even recognize it as hip hop anymore.
I listen to these young rappers.
These are something different, man.
I listen to these young rappers, man, and they got talent. Don't get me wrong. They got talent, but they've made our music a death cult now. It's part of a death cult. How many rappers got killed last year? How many rappers got killed in the last 3 years? All right. Because now you just can't be a rapper. You got to prove that you are in the mob. You got to be a Blood. You got to be a Crip. You got to be BD or GD or Full or something. You got to be something. Got to have that street cred. Got to have some bodies. Look at King Von. They celebrated King Von. He was BD. They celebrated him because of how many bodies he supposedly had. All right. How many bodies he supposedly had. And, you know, he was a real G. You know, a real gangster, you know, he was about the business, and they celebrated that. And this is what got this man killed when he went down to Atlanta, you know, and he got into that fight. I think it was Rondo Quando or somebody like that, and his entourage, and this man gets killed. And then people want to cry about this man, you know, and you should. Anytime you lose somebody you're going to, he meant something to somebody. He had a mama, a sister, and a brother, and cousins, and his whole mob. I'm sure they mourned this man. But at the same time, y'all was celebrating that he left 13 people the same way with 13 people's families the same way his family got left when he was gone. I don't see how people don't make that connection. I mean, they bragged that King Von had 13 bodies and he didn't get caught. So he left 13 families feeling the same way his family felt when he got killed. How do we not see that? You know? Your boy Pop Smoke got killed out in L.A.
Yeah.
All right. The one PNB Rock killed out in L.A. All right. FBD Duck killed on the north side of Chicago, Gold Coast. You know, I mean, one just got shot in Houston accidentally. Takeoff, he wasn't gangbanging, I heard. But crossfire, somebody shooting that shouldn't have been shooting. Who was they shooting at? All right. This ain't like it was friendly fire in a war.
Right.
You know? So it's really sad that this is where we are with our culture, with hip hop culture. When I say our culture, because I still consider myself part of hip hop culture from being there from the beginning. You know, I was listening to a song that Man Parrish made, Hip Hop Bebop. Song's made in 1983. I'm like, I've been listening to this song for 40 years. Unbelievable. And I still get the same pit in my stomach and feel the same excitement when I hear Hip Hop Bebop. When I hear Planet Rock by Africa Bambaataa and Soul Sonic Forces, or Looking for the Perfect Beat, or Play That Beat.
For the perfect beat.
Yeah. When I hear those things, I still could feel the first time I heard them and what it made me feel, what made me love hip hop, you know? So it saddens me to see, and I've seen the journey that hip hop has taken, you know? I've seen the journey from, we talked about Rakim and X-Clan in Paris, you know, to the Snoops, to the Dre's, to the Wu-Tangs, to the 50s, to the Lil Waynes. And it's been a nice long ride, but now this is just dangerous. You know, we got to stop celebrating that negativity in the music. Celebrate Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole, or somebody that's saying something positive. But we keep celebrating stuff that's talking about doing drugs, getting high, shooting the ops, you know, the ops who look just like you. Nipsey Hussle had a song, and the song was talking about, you know, he said when they would go gangbanging looking for the enemy, right? Mm-hmm. So they drive through the hood and they looking for the enemy, and they look and they see you. Oh no, man, he don't bang. He a realtor. They look, see me. Oh man, no, that dude over there, man, he like a minister. No. See kid carrying books. No, man, that's college student, man. We ain't looking for cuz, right? But then they see who they're looking for. And you know who he said he was looking for? Himself. I'm looking for me. So who is our biggest threat? It ain't the police. It ain't the white man. It ain't the Jewish conspiracy that Kanye and them talking about. And this is real talk, bro. I don't care what religion you are. I don't care if you think you're Hebrew, Native American, whatever. At the end of the day, a lot of us our lives are being ended by people that share the same skin tone that we do. You know, I look at that dude that killed Tupac, Orlando Jones. Mm-hmm. Oh, not Orlando Jones, Orlando Anderson. I'm put the actor into it. Orlando Anderson, Baby Lane, Southside Crip, right? Killed Tupac. Dude looks like he could be related to Tupac. If you look at a picture of Baby Lane put next to Tupac, same African facial features. And I'm like, man, these people killed each other over what? All right, he killed Tupac over what? Tupac did go and fight him over some what? Gangbanging shit. Mm-hmm. All right, that Pac wasn't part of, but he was with the mob, so he gonna roll with the mob. And he's a young man. And please, I'm tired of people acting like Tupac was so wrong. Tupac was a young black man. All right, he hadn't come to his own yet. How many of us can look back at something we did when we were 23, 24, 25, was stupid as hell that we wouldn't do now? All right, so please don't. I don't want to hear nobody getting on Tupac. He shouldn't. No, Tupac had loyalty to people that was loyal to him. All right, and that's what we normally do as men. Did he take it too far? Yeah, I believe he did. All right, should Sugar let him go up and hit that dude? Absolutely not. But it happened, and then retaliation happens. I think about times I've gotten into it with people when I was younger and brash and stupid. You know, people that I might have, real talk, straight up cock stole on or did something disrespectful to. But anybody you do that to, they got brothers. At the very least, they got people that ain't gonna take too kindly to what you did.
Right.
And they looking for you now. I'm thankful for God I survived that. Because there were times I did some stupid stuff, brash, you know. Somebody say something slick, pow, right? That's it. I'm done, and I'm standing there. Now what? Mm-hmm. Don't even know who's with this dude around me right now. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I'm thankful to God that I'm alive. Because it could have just been that easy. Mm-hmm. You know, so everybody, you ain't tougher than everybody. And if you are tougher than one dude, you're going to have to find his homies. Everybody got homies. All right. And if they part of one of them organizations we mentioned, they got a lot of homies. Mm-hmm. They all looking for you now. You know, so that stuff is dangerous, bro. You know, and now these young people living now, back then, you still on somebody, you might get jumped. Now you're going to get shot. They coming with guns. They ain't coming to fight you. That's over with. Ain't nobody fighting, and that's why we got so many young black people dying because of the culture created by this music. And I won't say that the music created the culture. I think it was kind of like a serpent in its tail.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, what do you call that? Symbiotic relationship, you know. But anyway, brother, I digress. We're going to have to chop this video up into
Yeah.
4 parts.
Right.
I'm gonna have Andre on, man. Like I said, he's a great brother, man. I've known him a long time, man. He's a great brother, great producer, just all around great guy, man. And a very smart dude. So it'd be good to hear his thoughts on this.
Okay.
All right. So Jonathan, since I don't ramble about hip hop, everything else, I got you with the Joseph thing, though. I got you.
You got me with that. Still should have came and got us. Okay,
all right. So, bro, you got anything you want to close us out with?
We'll close it out with this, man. Listen, Kanye and Kyrie did enough to get the conversation going, which I think is a needful conversation with those who have intelligence and who actually care, who have some idea of what's going on and some education and a little bit of influence. I'm going to say, Rich, we have some influence. We have a show, people watch it. You never know who you can reach. And I think, again, as Dick Reagan would say, liberation is never going to come from athletes or entertainers. It's people with grassroots who have a voice on a platform like this one and a platform that I have that talk about things that are germane to the communities that we're in and bring a positive light on certain things that and discussion. You can learn a lot from discussion, but we are more powerful for the humanities than any athlete or entertainer. They have their purpose, and sometimes their purpose is to say something and then shut the hell up and dribble, and then we take it from there. Let the reputable people take it from there, and the back door give us some money to support the cause. That's what athletes are for. They're not role models. I've always been heard that if I met my favorite athlete, I may not like him after that. And I don't know if I ever want to meet.
That has happened.
Yeah, I don't know if I ever want to meet Jordan. I don't know. I don't want to.
Probably not.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So I'm good with not meeting him. You know what I'm saying?
I met Michael Jordan one time or twice, I believe. And the one time I remember, he was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I hear bad stories about everybody, but you might call him on a bad day, man.
Right, yeah.
Now, there's some people I've heard only bad stories about. Michael Jordan ain't one of them. I ain't going to mention their names, so I'm not going to dog them out. I understand. Sometimes it's good not to meet your heroes because they might disappoint you.
I heard Derek Jeter was a bad tipper, but don't ask me how I know that.
Well, that's happened to me with musicians, man. There's people I've met in the music industry that truly disappointed me, that I truly respected and loved. But on the other hand, I can mention some people that were just great that I got to meet that were just great. Bokeem Woodbine, great guy, great. When I met Anthony Anderson, great guy. I'm not gonna mention ones that
weren't great. I met some famous people. They all I met have all.
It depends on who you are. It depends. And sometimes they're just having a bad day. But if everybody meets you on that same bad day, everybody that meets you has that same experience, and that must be you. They ain't all wrong. You the common denominator. But I'm gonna say this, brother. You're right. I believe that the athletes. I do understand what you're saying at this level. When I always get upset when, like, let's say that you're having, and it's not just athletes, it's just having people who are qualified to have the discussion. When they were having that discussion about, I forgot, I think it was prison reform or something, and they invited all them pastors at one. What's that new John something? I forgot. He got caught cheating on his wife. I forgot his name. A pastor, big time pastor, but he got caught cheating.
I know who you're talking about, though. I know you're talking about.
And when and I'm not saying that we should blast him for doing that. Hey, he's human. He made a mistake. That's not the part I'm talking about. But they invited all those pastors to the White House to talk about policy. I'm like, okay, now we got some black folk that actually are social workers, sociologists, lawyers, criminal justice professionals, and you didn't invite any of them to have this conversation. I find it a slap in the face, like when they appointed Ben Carson as leader of HUD. Ben Carson's a brilliant surgeon. If they had appointed him attorney general, that would have made sense. And when asked why did he appoint Ben Carson as the secretary of HUD, Trump's answer was because he lived in public housing one time. Well, damn, so did I. Well, am I qualified too?
At least be honest.
Yeah, I'm like, come on. But this type of stuff I'm talking about. But anyway, yeah, I agree with you. We should be bringing people into the discussion that really has something meaningful to say in order to try to push policy forward that's going to help our communities. I think we need to get to that point. And we need to stop having land and make-believe discussions about, the synagogues of Satan and who's not a real Jew and who's Esau's seed. And that stuff is irrelevant to the point. I don't care. See, that's one thing I'm going to say as Black folk, we ain't got time to be divided. You Muslim, I'm Christian, you atheist, no. We need to be Black. All right. All the other stuff, you Republican, you Democrat, you conservative, you liberal, you gay, you straight. We Black. What we going to do together? How we going to build? The other stuff, that's what you do. You do your religion, I do my religion. You be liberal, I be conservative. You gay, be gay, I'm not, whatever. And let's build, because none of that's relevant. The divisions, Black, that goes back to Willie Lynch letter I was telling you about. How they divide the slave, light skin, dark skin, male, female, young, old. All right? That's how you keep people off their square. We divided so much now, I'm an atheist. I don't like people in the church. I'm a Muslim. I don't like Christians. I'm a Christian. I don't like Muslims. I'm an atheist. I don't like none of y'all. I'm liberal. I'm conservative. I'm pro LGBTQ. I'm pro this. I'm like, come on, man. We Black. Let's work on that first. All right. But that's my end of my message, bro. All right. Thanks everybody for watching. I appreciate it. We're going to chop this one up since I got a 2-hour video. I'm going to have to make 4 30-minute ones and put it on Facebook.
Right.
So now I got to learn how to edit. Thanks, bro. All right. All right, bro. We'll talk later. God bless. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Like I said, I tried to make our leads and intros and exits, but couldn't do it. So we're going to leave it at this, saying peace out.
All right.